Hi, welcome to the Valley Community Library online. We are proud to be a PA Board Gold Star Library. Today's program is going to promote health literacy as we are doing teen treks. Yes, we are joined with Sarah Corcoran from the Pennsylvania Sierra Club, and we are going to be hiking Ziegler Preserve. Now, we already did Hiking 101, where Sarah taught us about what gear we do and do not need to hike. She gave us questions to ask. So I wanted to go over just a bit of the gear that we brought today. Of course, we have our water. That was the most important thing that Sarah said to bring, was water and snacks. I do have some snacks. It's also calling for chance of rain today, so I brought a poncho. I also brought the first aid kit that the Sierra Club provided for us. And I added to that Benadryl, just in case anyone gets stung by a bee. If you or someone that you are hiking with is allergic, make sure that they carry an EpiPen and let somebody else know that you have those allergies. I also packed some sugar because especially when it's hot, the chance of your sugar dropping is high, so I brought some Starburst as an emergency. So now, go ahead, Sarah.
I also brought water. I have my big jug of water today because it's going to get a little bit hot. And I have my not so pretty first aid kit. It's not, doesn't have the little Red Cross on it or anything like that, but it's got everything that I need, including tweezers in case you get a splinter or a bee sting, or you have a tick that you need to remove. They are multi-purpose tools. I have some Technu, which is for poison ivy, in case we brush up against any poison ivy on the trail. You'll want to rinse that off with some water, and then if you have anything to put on it to cut back on the reaction, you could do that. And then, basic like Neosporin and some tissues and all sorts of bandages and stuff like that. So I always have that with me when I'm hiking. Got lots of snacks. I didn't bring Starburst today. I'm a little jealous. But I did bring oranges, which are a easy, quick, sugary snack that has a lot of water in it. And I packed some granola bars as well. I also have my cell phone on me. Ziegler has cell phone service, so that's a good thing to note. But there are no amenities on site, so no trash cans, no bathrooms. Make sure you go before you go.
Yep. And we did each pack garbage bags, so we can spot litter along the way and pick it up and make sure that this trail stays nice and clean for fellow hikers. Now, Sarah, I'm going to let you take over and tell us about the rules.
All right, so every place that you hike is going to have their own set of rules, whether it's a state park or a national park or a local park. They're going to have different rules for different places. Some places don't allow dogs. Some places don't allow bikes or motorized vehicles. Do your research beforehand. There's usually a list that's here at a trailhead that'll say, what's allowed, what isn't allowed, and who manages the property. So Ziegler Preserve is managed by Countryside Conservancy. It's the local land trust in Lackawanna County, and they've got a lot of really cool trails throughout the area. So you can check out their website to find out more. And we're pretty much right across the street from Lackawanna State Park, and I know that some of the trails that we'll be seeing today are actually state park trails. So it's kind of pretty close together, and really fun to explore and see new areas.
So Ziegler is one of my family's favorite hikes.
Why is that?
I like that it's twisty and turny and shady. I love shade, especially in the summer. I look for shady trails. I burn super easy, and even though it's a shady trail, I did put on sunblock before I left the house.
And because it's a shady trail, it gets kind of buggy sometimes, so I made sure to put on bug spray because bugs love me. I like the stone walls here too. They're pretty cool.
Once you go up the entrance of the trail, you are going to find a trail map. It is always a good idea to take a photo on your phone of your trail map. And Sarah, do you want to point out any key things?
Okay, so it's nice that they have the "you are here" up here. All this down here is Lackawanna State Park, and up here a little bit. So you can either hike that way and take the loop this way, or you can hike behind us, which is the way we're going to go, and hike around this way. And Ziegler itself is not too long of a hike. We'll be out for about like an hour and a half, 2 hours today, just chilling, taking it nice and slow. If you're looking at a trail map, if you haven't really spent a lot of time with maps before, it has this guide down here, which tells you the scale. So you can kind of see how big things are. It tells you the mileage for different trails, tells you where things are within Lackawanna State Park, and where you are in relation to major highways. So yeah, definitely take a picture of any trail maps that you see, or go online beforehand and print them out so you have the physical copy.
All right, let's go.
I love the stone walls here.
Me too.
Now you see a lot of stone walls in the area because most of Pennsylvania actually used to be farmland. Like these trees were clear cut back in the 1800s. So like it was just like no trees in Pennsylvania.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, so most of the trees that you see here or on any hikes in the area are like 100, 150 years old at max. But the stone walls you see are property divides. So whenever you see those when hiking, this area used to be a farm. This was a property divide between one farmer's property and another. Nope, it's narrow. Go right ahead.
That's my kids' favorite spot to stop and take their first photo on the trail.
It's a nice place where it's all narrow there. It looks cool.
And the moss up. Right behind us, I see a trailblaze, but I also see one in front of us. So,
well, that one, the tree's eating it. Look at that. Nom 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 nom. So this trail has the trail markers, not the trail blazes like we were talking about in our last video.
All right, spotted a crow feather.
Spotted a trail blaze, spotted some poison ivy, spotted all sorts of good stuff. So, like I was saying, in the last video, in the Hiking 101, we talked about trail blazes and how to read them. But this one has the trail markers, which are a little bit more self-explanatory. The arrows point the way. So we will be going this way on the trail. The trail markers are a little far apart on Ziegler. So just when you think you might be lost, you'll see another one.
This trail does have rocks and roots and inclines, which we think's fun. Mountain bikes are allowed on the trail, so we often see a lot of mountain bikers on the weekends.
But like many of the trails in the area, if you go during the week, there's like nobody around.
Yeah, it's peaceful, and you can hear the birds sing. This is a good spot for a drink break.
Oh, good idea. So there are a lot of really cool plants that you can see while you're out hiking pretty much anywhere in the area. We've got some cool plants in Pennsylvania. One that the birds really love is right behind me. You see these bright red berries here? Those are chokecherries. And they're a great source of food for all the native birds and animals. And you can technically eat them, but I would not recommend it. They can do some pretty nasty things to your insides if you eat too many. So this is your flag of, unless you absolutely, positively, 125,000% know what you're eating, don't put anything in your mouth while you're on the trail, okay? There are some times when you're looking and you're like, those are blueberries. I 100% know those are blueberries, I can eat those. But if you're looking at other types of berries, nightshade isn't always dark purple, and it has those little round red berries sometimes. So we have those around here too. Please, 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 unless you are 125,000% sure, don't eat anything.
And for clarification, nightshade is very poisonous.
Very, very poisonous. It's called deadly nightshade for a reason. So we just finished going up the hill, following the stone wall and the trailblazes as we went, and now we're at this split. The way that we are going to go, since there aren't really any trail signs marking the way, is we're going to go this way and up, because you can see right from here, there's a sign that says Ziegler Preserve. So we're going to be going off of the Ziegler Trail and onto the Ziegler Trail. It still loops around and makes it a little bit longer, but if you just want a short hike through the woods, you can just continue on through the Ziegler Preserve. That one, like I said, is about 1.5 miles, and it's just over 2 miles once you add in the Ziegler. So that's the way we're gonna go. Look, there's a little bumblebee over here. Bum, 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 bum. There he goes. He was hanging out on this Virginia creeper, which looks a lot like poison ivy, but if you notice, poison ivy has 3 leaves and Virginia creeper has 5. So if you see it, this is not poison ivy, but there's some poison ivy right over there.
Leaves of 3, leave them be.
And poison ivy isn't always low to the ground like this. I'll see if we can find some creeping poison ivy on the trail later. But if you ever see like a vine going up a tree and it's super hairy, that's poison ivy too. You can still get poison ivy in the winter, even when there's none showing on the ground, because those vines still have the poison ivy poison in it.
And we're gone. Oh, spider.
You hanging out?
There's a little spider on my water bottle. What do I do?
Oh,
Do we have any poisonous spiders here?
I mean, all spiders have some venom in them.
Do I squish them?
Oh, he's outside. He's doing his spider thing. He's living his best life. Here.
Oh, no need to hurt wildlife, even if they're scary and creepy.
There's some actually really cool spiders around here. Have you ever heard of crab spiders?
No.
So they can actually change their colors like a chameleon can to camouflage with their surroundings. They're really cool. They're really tiny, you know, but they, like, if you see them, they can like blend in. Like they can turn like bright pink to be on a pink flower or yellow. So I think they're really cool.
That is cool. Okay, now there's a split. What way do we go?
Well, there's a sign right there. Let's see what it says.
Okay. If you do not know where you are, look for a signpost.
Okay,
And this one
map.
has a map.
You are here. Boop, boop. All right. So it looks like, unless we want to take this big, long hike, we should probably go that way. Because then it'll connect and come back down to Ziegler.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yep. So for clarification, at the Y there, we continued on to our left.
But if you want to take a nice long hike, you can go the other way.
And the nice thing about these trails are they all loop back and connect together. So just make sure you have water and you will be okay.
And good shoes.
Yes.
Oh look, mountain bike track.
I'd like to see some animal tracks, like a good turkey track or deer. Watch your step.
Just about to say that.
I-
check out these massive old grapevines.
It's these right here.
They're really cool.
And they're all over here. So those are grapevines. They look like they'd make awesome swings. Can we swing on them?
Don't do it though.
Not safe.
They might snap. You don't know how secure they are way up high.
You can see some of them when you hike this trail. They're all wrapped around the tops of the trees.
But they definitely do look like they'd be fun to swing on or bounce on.
Something that you'd see in an Indiana Jones movie.
Or a Tarzan movie.
Or Tarzan. But not safe in real life to do. And this is one of my favorite trees on this hike. So, gotta show you the tree. Maybe say what type of tree it is.
Massive.
I love how huge this tree is.
This one was
Watch your step on your way up because it is rocky.
That had to have been spared when this land was cleared. It looks like a big old tree. You see the leaves? I just want to hug it though, but I'd have to walk through a lot of poison ivy to get there.
Yeah, we cannot go down to explore the tree.
Stay on
But
the
we
trail.
get to admire it from afar.
It's got all those cool little like burls in it.
Yes, what are those from?
So most of the time when you see those like big bumps on a tree, it's from some kind of trauma. So either from a bug that's climbed underneath the bark and done some damage that way, or sometimes you see them when like a limb falls off. But most of the time it's from a bug or a disease.
Huh. So it's pretty awesome that that tree survived
Yeah.
through all those traumas.
I've seen like woodworkers like use those to make bowls because they're already kind of circular and they've got like cool like modeling and stuff to them.
As long as we leave animals and as nature be, they should leave us be. There's more of those chokeberries. Right there, so we are not eating those. They're there for the birds.
Ooh, ooh, but look, here's one you can eat.
Does anyone know what that is?
I do.
What is it, Sarah?
It's a blackberry. There's some more blackberries down in there too.
But we're not going off the trail for those.
Nope, this one was easy for me to reach. I don't want to go through those thorns to try to get more.
Yep, thorns. There could be snakes in there. Taking a nap. We don't want to disturb anybody. And we definitely don't want to get poison ivy.
There's a bunch of blackberries. Oh, that's one of my favorites. To point out the mullein. It's so soft and fuzzy. See the big leaves right there? That's called mullein. And it's got fuzzy leaves. Later on in the fall, you'll see it. It's the one with the big stalks with the yellow-looking flowers on it. But I just like it. It's fuzzy.
What does it do for our ecosystem?
Well, you normally find it in like disturbed areas, so like along railroad tracks a lot of the time, or like open, more exposed areas. I heard once that native tribes used to use it as kind of like, it was like an irritant. So like if you rubbed it on your face, kind of like old type of rouge to make your cheeks look more ruddy and healthy.
Okay.
But that's just one of those stories that's been passed down by locals for a while and not factually checked. So we're at another split, but if you remember on the last map that we saw, it looked like if we continue off to the left and continue staying to the left, it'll connect us back with Ziegler and back towards the parking lot. So
You were saying it's nice to hike in a light rain sometimes.
yeah, because it cools you down and keeps you nice and refreshed. And if you are prepared and you have like rain gear with you or a hat, it can be really nice.
So we're crossing a rock wall. And we have to be careful here, especially if that's wet.
Oh yeah, this would be super slippery.
We found a painted rock.
It's sparkly.
And if you hike this trail and you find that sparkly rock, I want you to comment on this video and tell us about your hike.
All right, so we are coming down from our Gardner Spencer portion of the hike and heading back to Ziegler. After we go through this stone wall, you'll see a post that has Ziegler on one side. So you know that we are back on the original portion of the loop, and we're on our way back. So let's go.
All right.
Yeah,
What is it?
it's a May apple. So like earlier in the year, like May, there'll be flowers underneath here that turn into fruit that looks kind of like an apple. And they get really like quite big actually, but they're cool.
But they're not edible for us.
They're edible for animals. But yeah, we don't want to eat them.
Okay, good to know.
Back to Ziegler! Yay! And just in case you didn't know, there's another map right there.
And on this post, it tells you what you can and cannot do on Ziegler, or what you can do.
Biking and hiking. All right.
With a nice warning to beware of poison ivy. All right, do you see what we see? They're tiny.
Let's see if we can see them.
So we have to be quiet, right? Hi, Mr. Chipmunk. And they look super cute. But we're not touching them. We're staying back on the trail and observing from a distance.
fun. I found an interesting plant.
What did you find?
Touch-me-not, or jewelweed. So you can tell by the flowers. Sometimes they're yellow, sometimes they're orange. But later on in the summer, they'll get these cool little seed pods underneath. If you touch them, they explode. But this is a great plant. It's kind of like a succulent. If you break it off, there's liquid inside. And you can use that for sunburns, for bug bites, for bee stings. It's very much like aloe.
Neat. All right, so we found some litter, and thanks to the Sierra Club earlier in the year giving us our gloves for our Earth Day cleanups, I've kept my gloves in the paper bag inside my hiking pack. That way the gloves aren't contaminating other things in my hiking pack, so that I can pick up gross litter that we find along the way. And we want to use our gloves because we don't know what's on that or in that or yucky.
That's cool.
A cool woodpecker. Sarah, what is that?
A woodpecker tree. And based off the size, it's probably from a pileated, which is our biggest woodpecker species. Think woody woodpecker.
Awesome. I love that movie.
Going the right way.
I think the texture is super cool.
It looks like something was scratched on it too. Maybe well, it goes all the way up. I was gonna think maybe it was like a bear, but it might be from like insects or something. But it doesn't. Maybe a porcupine. Oh, because look, it goes all the way up. That's cool.
It's cool. And we have porcupines locally.
Yeah, we do.
I've never seen one in the wild.
They are slow and adorable and make little like noises when they're upset. But they're cool. And you find them up trees sometimes.
It's very rocky. I read in the book A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson.
Oh, great book.
It is. It's about walking the Appalachian Trail. But he said that Pennsylvania is known for rocks and rattlesnakes and the killer of hiking boots.
I've heard from thru hikers that it's called Rocksylvania or the shoe killer. But we're just used to it.
We are. And almost all of our trails are rocky. There's only very few that are paved. So this big guy just scared the pants right off of me.
He's so cool.
So Sarah, what type of snake is that?
That's a black rat snake. They can get big. I mean, he's already big, but I've seen them 4 to 5 feet long. I think he's about 4 feet.
And we're not going to go close to him. We're keeping our distance. He started moving as soon as we walked around the trail.
Such a cool sight.
It is. We did see a snake today. And we do him no harm. He does us no harm.
He is not venomous. He eats things like chipmunks and mice and rats. So he's not gonna hurt us.
Very cool. And we don't even have to worry about going across his path because there is a trail marker right there that says that we're not going that way. So enjoy your day, Mr. Snake.
There he goes. They blend in so good, don't they?
They do. So you always want to be aware of your surroundings as you're walking so that you don't accidentally step on any snakes. Oh, and check out what we have up here.
Oh, mushroom.
And mushrooms have many different varieties, and some are very poisonous. So we do not touch the mushrooms on the trails, and we do not eat them.
That was cool.
We saw a snake.
I'm glad. Jim, like you're telling us, we're going off to the left. If you look off to the right, we'll see a sign for Bull Hill. That is one of the hiking trails in Lackawanna State Park. So in the beginning we were saying that a lot of the trails crisscrossed and we had to be aware of which one we were following. So we are going to go off to the left here. It's kind of cool here. You can see a native fern right next to an invasive fern.
I didn't know there were invasive ferns.
Yeah.
So we are recording. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the hay-scented fern. This is the one that you see a lot when you're hiking through the woods, like when there's like just a big field of ferns and it's really like, it looks pretty and it smells good, but the reason you see those big fields is because nothing eats them, because they don't taste good. And so even deer don't touch the hay-scented fern and they take over an area. But if you look right underneath it, you'll see this is one of our native ferns. I think that it's New York fern, but I do not know 100%. So if you are a fern person, let me know and comment what type of fern that is in the comments.
So Sarah does a lot of invasive species education and removals where you train people to remove invasive species with the Sarah Club, right?
I do. I'm not a fan of invasive species. An invasive species, by the way, is something that doesn't belong. Something that was brought in from another area and has no real like predators or consumers that can keep its population down. So
They constantly take over then.
yeah, it does. It takes over. So like if you look, here's a hemlock tree right here, which is our state tree. But they've been dying off in droves for the last like 20 years because of a tiny little insect that came over from Asia and has been wiping them out. If you go farther south, like in the Smoky Mountains, they've lost almost all of their hemlocks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And right now our ash trees are becoming endangered, right?
Yeah, because of the emerald ash borer. But they're finding that there are certain ash trees that the ash borers leave alone. And so they're trying to figure out which ones those are and breed those so that way the ash have a comeback. It seems that it's that way with a lot of different insects. They target one tree or another, or there's like the chestnut blight that takes out the American chestnut, which is more of a fungus. But the most recent insect that's been doing a lot of issues, a lot of damage in Pennsylvania is the spotted lanternfly, which is just now coming to our area. It looks really pretty. It's got like red spackles on it. It's nice. It's pretty looking, but it eats literally everything. It's terrible. It'll eat orchard plants like grapevines and apples. It eats hardwoods like our staple logging trees. So they're really trying to stomp that out. But there's a lot of plants that are invasive too. They just take over an area and crowd everything else out.
So now we are coming up to the swamp part of the trail, and it's going to get super buggy down here. But if we are quiet, we might be able to hear some frogs croaking. I'm going to switch the camera around so we might hear those. Do you hear them? That's cool. So why do frogs croak so loud? I thought they only did that at night.
Oh no, they croak to communicate. It's their way of talking, just like you and I talk. So sometimes they're singing to be territorial. Sometimes they're singing because they want to find a lady frog. Sometimes they are conveying information about like predators. Frogs are smarter than we give them credit for. And most of those were green frogs that we're singing right now. They had that more metallic-y, like that right noise. And then the deep woo, woo was your bullfrog.
Right, and you should notice where we are. We are right back to the beginning.
Pick that up.
Yep. And found a little bit more litter to pick up. Yes, we're gonna pick up that litter, but high five, we made it. Ah! Wait, let's do that again. High five, we made it. Good job. I hope you enjoy this hike as much as we did. But there's one more thing that we have to do when we get back to the cars. Do you know what it is? Comment and let us know if you know what we're going to have to do next. Did you guess what we have to do? That's right. If you were paying attention to Sarah's presentation with Hiking 101, you know that ticks are the biggest thing that we have to worry about, even though they're the tiniest thing in the woods. So we have to do a tick check. I will make sure that I link Hiking 101 in the description of this video so that you can watch that if you have not yet. But we're going to look over our clothes now and make sure that we don't have any little tiny bugs on us.
You want to check along the seams, along the hems, look where your socks are, make sure there's none there. And then they like to hide wherever there's a crease. So make sure you look behind your knees, behind your ears, in your elbows. Now we can't do a full tick check here because you'll want to take off all your clothes. You'll want to look at the inside seams of your clothing. You'll want to check areas that we don't want to show off right now. So along the bra line, if you happen to wear one, and areas that are hidden by clothing, behind your ears and in your hair. So I'm going to look behind Fawn's ears right now. You are All good. How about me?
You are good. Now we're looking for tiny little black or brown spots, and they have legs.
Yep. So we didn't find any on ourselves right now, but once we get off camera and we can do a full tick check, we will, hopefully not find any either.
Yep.
But it's always best to look, and like we said in the last video, it's okay if you don't spot one right away. It takes a little while for it to spread any sort of infection that it might have, but you definitely want to do a quick once over when you get off the trail, and a more thorough one when you get home.
Yep. All right. Thanks for joining us for Teen Treks today. Again, we hiked Ziegler Preserve. This is in Lackawanna County, close to the Lackawanna State Park. So there's lots of trails in this area. This was just one, actually two, because we did
A little bit of Gardner Spencer. Yep.
Garden Spencer as well. And we hope that you enjoy it. If you get out, send us your pictures, comment, tell us what your favorite part of the trail was. And I hope that you spotted some of the same creatures and plants that we did. All right. Have a great time, and we will see you in August as Sarah and I are planning our Teen Treks hiking part 2 video, where we'll go and explore another trail still in Lackawanna County.
Lots to explore.
There's so many choices. It's going to be hard to narrow it down to the next one. Do you think that we should keep this going and do it again in the future? Maybe in the fall? Let us know what you want, and we'll take that into consideration.